Yeah, let me share my screen. Okay, hello everyone. It's late night. I'll be a little bit softer than usual. Okay, I think everyone can see my chart right now. So I'll show DXY for now. My current view for DXY is still bearish. As you all can see, I've written here. I see a potential bear flag in formation actually, because it's been chopping up and down in a flat manner. As you all can see right here. It's a 4-hour chart right now. And also is in confluence with this level right here, which is the top of the range, 105.091. This is the place where a lot of members in the group actually caught the sell on UC, and also maybe some longs on the counter dollar pairs. So right now I'm seeing bearish. Potentially next week something like this will play out, breaking the range of the flag and then start melting. If not, we'll see how it goes. If it goes back to here, potential TPF in play as well. But we'll see the speed and also the lower time frame confirmation before we can make any sensible decision. Okay, so for JPYX, this thing is again very bearish, but the uh, uh speed of the price moving downwards is quite slow. It's quite slowed down. So it's still bearish, but I wouldn't trade JPYX because I don't see any opportunity for myself personally. I've removed it from my watch list actually. Yeah. So I think I potentially avoided quite some losses in JPYX, I'm sure. I mean, counter yen pairs. I mean, if I were to trade them, I would have got hit, I'm sure. So yeah. All right, I'll talk a little bit about my gold trade because okay, I've done the journal. Let me show the journal instead. Hold on. You share. All right. Okay, weekly compilation. So I've taken a few trades on gold. First one being the 28th May, which is Monday. So this is my thought process. I'll walk you guys through real quick. On the higher time frame, you can see gold is in an extreme uptrend. Not really extreme. It's a clear uptrend. I'll say higher low, higher high being formed. So when I drop down to 2 hours, even if the price really dip a lot, this is maybe a thousand pips, maybe or more. Yeah. So on this chart itself, 2-hour chart, we can see the previous structure has been tested. This is the 2328 level. So once it's tested, and then it's also uh, showing some respect to the bullish structure, the level 2332. So that's when I try to stick to the recent impulse despite the previous meltdown. And when I drop down to the 1 hour time frame, I see a potential break and retest structure, and also the lower time frame bull flag information. That's where my entry got triggered, and it's yeah, and I got stopped out. It actually shows me that it proves me that uh, despite the direction being right, I could be spiked out because it is in a long-term bull bear flag formation. When we see a bear flag, a good bear flag, a good quality bear flag should be breaking the higher structure and the lower structure back and forth. It's like a ranging but slightly angled. So this is where I got my next thesis. I stopped going long and I try to look for a short setup. So on the next day, there's a structure here. As you can see, 2355. Neo actually shorted here at the high. Very nice price position. But because I took a loss previously, so I try to be more conservative and wait for an extra confirmation. So my confirmation was to wait for the price to dip below this level. So this is a sign of rollover. You can enter here as an aggressive entry like new, but for me, I chose the next confirmation, next entry confirmation, which is breaking below this level. So on the lower time frame, it shows this. It's a 5 minutes break of structure. I entry based on limit, and then it had a very clean run to the downside. So and this level was the previous low. Hence, I think it was quite good to take profit here and then look for the re-entry after. Yep, and then I closed this trade out for 3.4, not bad. And then my re-entry thesis was, this is the mistake where I would like to share to y'all. I look for a higher level, which is, as you can see, this level right here, 2349.6. So it has a few touches. And it also confluence with this impulse alone, this impulse is the impulse that broke below this my entry level, which is the confirmation that I had. So I use the FIB and then look for the sweet spot entry, which is SSE taught by Neo. So and then I wait for the price to tap me in, hopefully, and then this is what happened. So this is the re-entry level where Neo took as well. So Neo is obviously, the market wizard, seeing the potential, the strength, the power, the momentum carry, follow through, which it did not quite tap the FIB zone or the SSE zone level, and just melt down. So I was being stubborn. Yeah, stubborn. At the moment, I thought I was being disciplined, but it turned out I was stubborn. So hindsight, what has been done wrong or what could be done better? So this is the level where we see one, two, very clean reaction, and then a first rejection right here. So this first rejection should raise my eyebrow already. It's like it's a warning, or it's a sign where the price is having a strong follow through with this sell off. So my last chance of entry was the double top or double test, the retest of this same level, but I was still being stubborn, as you already know. So okay, oh well. I saw this run down the next day. There's still a chance where, it's already very close to the low of the flag, low of the previous flag here, right here. So I decided, or I did not, I try not to spot, or I gave up, yeah. I gave up mentally to spot any follow-up short setup. So that's potential improvement where I can work on. And then another painful lesson follow up. So on 30th May, the Thursday, I saw the fake out. It's not it's sort of a fake out of the bottom of the flag right there. And then it did a V-shaped recovery. This is something where I see a lot in gold. When a V-shape occurred, means there's an opposition force stepped in. So I try to look for the fresh momentum of the reversal. So on the 1 hour time frame, we can see there's a low here, a significant momentum, a significant buy zone, previous buy zone. So one reaction, and then fake out a little bit, and then form a flag. Still, there's a reaction on this level. And then I try to hunt for the same buy zone, which it worked out. It worked. It actually worked out. But because, okay, when we dropped down 15 minutes, you can see my entry was quite sharp. It is it is quite sharp, as you all can see. The momentum followed up is also very strong. I was being confident, But as you all can see, on Thursday itself, there's a lot of heavy news, prelim, GDP, unemployment, GDP, and also 10 p.m. there's another one, red folders. So I was trying to be conservative on my setup. So I BE. So I moved myself to BE, and then guess what? It tapped it tapped my BE and it's run 180 pips. Or at least I could secure 150 or 40 pips. That's about 4 to 6 R. Yeah. So this is an example where your BE could work sometime and could not work sometimes. So uh it depends on the uh how to say the price position also. If you think your price position is good, it shall not be violated, then leaving your risk as it is could be a good choice. Yeah, that's my take. Mhm. Okay, Neil. I think I will pass on to Rob
Oh yeah,
from here.
Rob can take over.
Sweet.
Okay.
Thank you, Jar.
Thank you.
Firstly, obviously, thank you, Neo, for allowing me to come on and and talk with you guys. So I'll share my screen. So first things first, I'll run through a couple of the trades that I've took in the previous week. Just move this bar. So I took four major trades, well, four key trades throughout last week. I will start off actually with EA. This was the first trade of the week, and funny enough, it looks basic and it looks stupid. You're probably wondering what's going on, but this one trade actually taught me a lot. I guess my thesis going into this trade was if we go to the 4 hour on EA, we had a pretty sort of significant, I guess you could say, rollover going on here with the 4 hour and 2 hour. So I was expecting, ignore this is more for next week. So I was expecting some sort of push to the upside. And based on these couple of weeks here and this sort of rejection level, I was expecting sort of I guess I was expecting like a bearish flag. Sorry. So obviously we had a pretty big downtrend here on the Friday and then leading into the Monday, and then I was expecting sort of I guess a push to the downside based on this TPF level. Is a really, again, this was a trade that I honestly kind of shook my head at pretty poorly because it was a one risk and it was only, I mean, it was 16 pips, but it was basically anticipating one, it was an early entry. So I guess I can talk about that is the fact that my entry was way too overtraded. If we're actually genuinely looking at a TPF, I would be normally looking at these price positions here. So if we're looking at a genuine entry, I would probably be looking at this level here. So if I was actually going to have a proper limit order in, I'd probably be at this level. So again, this order here or this trade, I was really disappointed at. It was the Tuesday, so I hadn't traded on the Monday, and it was also with a new funded account. So I think I was in kind of a bit of a rush, but I sort of it's also why I'm showing this trade is because I obviously want to be open and honest with everyone here that we do make mistakes and we do make very dumb trades at times. But I think overall my thesis was some sort of TPF to the downside, but obviously it just shot back through and then it ended up being some sort of weird sort of range trade throughout the rest of the week. So yeah, a lot learnt, but yeah, that was the EA. So lost 1 hour on that one. The next trade I took, I believe, was a break even on the Dows on the US 30, which I later realized was actually a perfect bear flag setup. As you can see with this massive downtrend here on the Thursday and Friday last week into sort of some sort of consolidation and a squeeze. It was very obvious in hindsight. Again, my entry was based on this this sort of push to the upside, how we broke this very minor level here, and I entered pretty much on the high, and it immediately broke down. I think my stop loss was around about, I think it was just below this 39,000 level. I think it was about the 992, so just below this wick here. So I managed to consolidate and go into the positives. But in that, after seeing all this movement through here and then see it break to the upside, I immediately changed my stops to break even. Because one, I didn't really like the trade. It was more of a high risk. My thesis was more so that price would actually maybe swallow at least half of this movement, maybe go back to this little range that we had here. But again, sort of, I just wanted to manage the risk, and as we can see, massive down spike, and then it basically just broke straight into another, into a beautiful bear flag. So this is effectively, if I could represent what I was trying to represent here, this is what I was anticipating. So we had a full down spike here. I was anticipating at least half of a pullback, because in back testing, I found that, after a pretty major downturn like that, I would expect a little bit of a pullback to the upside, especially because it's not an obvious bull flag. Bearish flag, in my opinion. Normally, I would expect a little bit more of a sort of a range going on here, but it was a bit choppy, a bit weird. So it was a bit of a high risk trade, but at the end of the day, breaking even, I mean, I was kind of happy with that. If I had to learn a massive lesson from this trade as well, is I honestly should have monitored it, because it would have been an absolute perfect entry to go to the downside on this very wick here. So we shot down, showed this level of resistance based on these levels here, consolidated a bit, broke through it again, and then on the 5 minute or 2 minute, we have where's it gone? Where have I gone? We had a perfect bounce off this level with this wick. So if I was there at 10 o'clock watching, which I probably was, this would have been a great limit order to the downside. I think one of our members in the group actually did end up running it all the way down for, I think it was 10R. So props to them. But so that was my Dow trade. And then onto my sort of better trades for the week. So I guess we could start like with JL and Neo, the wizard. Caught onto this, and it was something that I was also monitoring. And after Neo's call in the group, it was something where I really had that extra level of confidence, because I was already eyeing off this sort of just this squeeze, this range. I was a little bit wary of the fact that it might have shot to the upside, because I could see this sort of level going on here, and in theory, it could have been a slight bullish flag. I don't know, but again, I was at the end of the day, I was feeling quite bearish on gold, and then obviously Neo's comments also backed up that confidence. So I actually ended up putting 3% on this trade and then 1% on the scale in. So I actually risked quite a bit. So I ended up 2R and then 1.7. So I think in total it was about an 8R if you times the percentages. So it was a really good. It took me from drawdown to, I think, about 5.5R in positive at the time on the funded account. So this was a fantastic trade. The scaling was based on, I think, JL, this was your entry. So again, just this break, this key level, or this sort of this minor low here. It was, I don't want to say it was based on intuition, but I could just see that this was obviously a fairly significant level. And then I just manually entered and rode the wave down, and then closed out at this just this minor this sort of level here as well. Obviously, it rode all the way down. I think my original TP was actually 1,332, so I could have held it all the way. But at the end of the day, I was happy to take that. I don't want to take up too much of Neo's time, so I'll get through them. And then this was my AU trade. Again, break and resist, a break and retest of this 660 level. We could even say that this was probably the initial TPF level here, but again, the reason I didn't enter, I think last Thursday, on Thursday, was actually because of there was really no pullback. Normally I would expect quite a significant jump at this level, but there was nothing. So I felt that we could see this go lower, and it did. It hit this level, and then that's when we waited for the breakthrough of that level again to retest here. My best entry, and I'm annoyed that I didn't get it because I was eyeing it off, was obviously at the 660 level, and it shot up quite quickly. As you can see, that's a 15-minute. And I managed to get in just a little bit late, but not too bad. I did attempt to scale in at this on this particular level here. Again, I based this entry on this wick just here. I obviously now regret that because it ended up failing. And honestly, the perfect level would have just been these two minor highs just here. I don't know why I didn't see that at the time. I think again, just over trading. Scaling has been something I've been trying to work on this week or in these past couple of weeks. So I've just been a little bit more aggressive on that front. And obviously using funded accounts, I guess you can be a little bit more aggressive just to learn styles. There was only a 5 pip stop. So again, if I extended that just slightly, I could have still been in it and could have ridden the wave up. But I based the stop loss actually just below these wicks, which would have been the perfect entry. So out -3R on that. And then I attempted to scale in once more. This was based on, I think it was a 2-minute candle possibly. Later double, I can't exactly remember. I think it might have been at this level here. I might have even been on one of the 4 hours. But again, try to scale in a little bit. It wasn't actually too bad. It actually came in, it went straight positive, and then I saw it break down. And at that moment, I moved once it broke back into the positives, I then immediately went to a break-even position because I didn't want it to go back into the drawdown, and then that's where it literally stopped me out perfectly. So again, like JL said, moving stops to break even can be harsh sometimes, and this is literally a great example because that's right on the wick there. And again, that could have run it all the way out, but regardless, run my trailing stop losses at each sort of minor swing low. Again, you probably could have had a level here, but yeah, this was in the moment what I felt comfortable with. And then I took profits. So it went up here and then broke back down below these levels here. And then I ended up seeing the formation of I think this should actually be a little bit wider. So I think I actually ended up exiting about there because I ended up seeing this formation of this little wedge here, which I didn't like, or you could even say this bearish flag. So it actually turned out to be. So I exited there on those wicks, and yeah, out for, I'm not sure what it was exactly. I think I think it was about 2R. So not too bad. But overall, yeah. So hopefully that made sense. I apologize if it didn't. But at the end of the day, it's sort of definitely new for me. I can quickly go into next week anyway. JL broke down DXY perfectly. I think I'm also I've bearish intentions. Let's bring up the notes real quick. Where are we? Yeah, so I feel like US doesn't have a real direction at the moment, especially on the daily. I feel like we're just sort of consolidating in this range. It's quite weird, but we see this OMS structure here. I believe that we'll actually probably start out the week on DXY, probably retesting this structure for a TPF and then breaking down and going to this OMS and then retesting and bearish. I'll probably try and wrap it up there. JPXY, same thing. I'm not touching it. It could be possibly a double bottom here. So we could see it now drive up throughout the week, but again, not touching. USD CAD, I'm expecting a test of this bottom level here, and sort of going. I guess it goes against the DXY. So this is something that I'm not too sure about. But at the end of the day, it's just something that I'll be keeping an eye on. British AUD. I'm expecting a bullish trend on this, retesting the structure here, breaking and retesting the structure here. I think that was an EU. EU was another one I also liked as well. So EU going against, going with our DXY trend. I'm expecting. I'm sort of expecting it just slowly test each one of these key levels and break higher and higher and higher. But again, we'll see how Monday starts. Monday will be a key test to see how we actually start the weekend and what these unfold to look like. So yeah, it's hard trying to put it all into 15 minutes, but yeah, or 10, 15 minutes. But I hope you guys appreciated that, and I'll pass it on to Nia. Cool.
Thanks, JL. Thanks, Rob. So pretty good presentation from Rob for the first time. So let me share my screen. I think we all pretty much have the exact same thesis. In terms of DXY is bearish. I won't try to flip direction yet because so far everything has pretty much went according to our plan, right? We talked about that the retest of that 105.60, it dropped, it really did. We then talk about the retest of that 105.09, it dropped as well, really did. So these are just evidence that market is really telling us, hey, we're correct. So normally when market has been proven as correct so many times, I don't try to change my bias, because when you do that, you're sort of messing up your thought process and sort of just crush all of the effort that we've been preparing for the past 2 to 3 months, I'll say. So this thing is just bearish. I'm seeing a bad flag right now as well. If you just draw the upper and bottom trend line, right? So we got a bad flag formation. Should be seeing price push lower. So pretty much the same view. I'll see if price can hold under 104.80. Doesn't necessarily mean it will go back, but that's one of the scenarios that I am looking at. JPYX, this thing is just absolutely bearish, like what JL said. We all agree that this is just difficult to trade. But one thing Rob did talked about was maybe that's a possible double bottom. We don't know. I don't try to predict that as well, because when you try to predict things like that, it's all anticipation. It's no longer trading. It's more of a guessing game. So I'll say JPYX, I am fairly neutral. I'll see how it goes. So just quickly run through gold. Gold being one of our best short of the week. I personally had about up about 5%, 5 to 6% shorted that on Wednesday, all the way from 23.58. Sorry if the short position thing isn't there anymore, because normally after I do my review, I'll just remove them. So we shorted somewhere around here, call it inside the group, around 23.58. Covered our position fairly early. So covered it way too early. I then had a reshort. I call it reshort at 23.46. And I'd like to explain this a little bit. Just now, JL actually said that he was trying to short at a higher resistance. It wasn't wrong, all right? He wasn't wrong doing that, because sometimes when you're looking to sort of trade a continuation, you want more confluence. So that's what he did. He decided to wait for price to go back to 23.49. It wasn't wrong, right? It was actually a good move, but the main reason why I actually mentioned that I don't think it'll pull back to 23.49, 23.48, it was mainly because the resistance was very clear. All right, if the resistance is so clear here at 23.46, 23.47, I would just say I would much rather to have my entry here. At least my stop loss can be a little bit wider, covering the high on the left. Let's say as long as my stop loss covers the high on the left, it is a good short. So unfortunately, I did hop onto a reshort, but I covered my position for about 1 to 1. Why? Because I was outside. I actually told you all that I was outside. I couldn't monitor the position. I then realized there was a re-entry later on to short this all the way down. So why did price eventually drop all the way down? It's because it was a completion of the bear flag. I have explained this a few times before. When I was doing my back testing on flag, it was one of the most heavily back tested pattern I had. 70% of the time, it'll go back to low. So flag is more of a very 70-70 thing. So 70% win rate, almost there. Then we also have 70% chance where price will go back to low of the flag. That's why whenever you'll ask me, hey, if I'm taking a bull flag or bear flag setup, what's my target setting like? I always say high or low of the flag. Let's say you shorted here on a bear flag, you really did capture that. Most of the time, 70% of the time, you'll go back to low. Let's say if you take a bull flag, 70% of the time, if you really catch the low, you'll go back to the high. So I call the 70-70 rule on the flag. So one thing I sort of failed to capture, and it was quite I don't say it's painful, but it was something that I've been planning, was I actually really wanted to reshort gold from high to low. And that was something has been on my game plan. I decided to close my computer at around 10 p.m. because I noticed, hey, I don't think much will happen. And guess what? I just realized that price eventually come back to this. You can see that TPF area. Let's not call it TPF, just call it high of the range at 23.57. And this thing just absolutely dropped all the way down within 5 hours, I think. Let me see, 4 hours. So within 4 hours, we dropped from high of the range at 23.57 all the way down to 23.27. So that's about 300 pips drop. So that was something that I've been planning to trade as well. But unfortunately, it happened on Friday after I think it was the PC news, should be, right? It actually happened after the news, which I did not trade. So that was something that I really did miss out. See that? So we got PCE. Market actually started to pump after the PCE. Then at around 9 p.m., 9 or 11 p.m., I'm not sure. I just closed my computer, then it just started to drop. So that was something unexpected. So coming this week, I would still love to trade gold, and I would still say it's bearish. Why? Because sellers are heavily in control. Multiple times we tried to break that 23.57 high, failed. Every single time we failed, and we dropped all the way down. But the tricky thing is right now price is at low of it's near the low, so you couldn't short it. You can't really short it here unless you wait for a break and retest under this 23.25. Otherwise, you just can't short here. It's not worth it. It's too risky as well. My guess is I believe price would do some sort of retracement back to some of the mid sort of intermediate structure. I would say around 23.42. I'll try to go short, but of course, when you try to go short here, it's a bit of a mid-range, but it's fine. As long as it eventually break under the low, it's worth it. And price position wise, since I can see on the 4 hour, the EMAs are crossing bearish, dynamic resistance flowing down as well. So I believe we should see something like this coming out to sort of rebalance things a little bit before it drop down. So that's my take on gold. Or we might, another scenario, on Monday open tomorrow, we just drop all the way, then we have to chase for a retest. If that case really happened, then you can perhaps try to use some of these resistance on the left, again, around 23.30, to try to see if you even manage to catch a short to the downside. Won't try to rush it, because normally if I miss out a move like this, I know my personality, I'll try to chase it, but we'll try to be patient and see how it goes. Either you wait for a break-in retest or you wait for a deeper retracement into 23.42. So I would like to share one of the painful setup that I had this week. I call it painful because of the lack of discipline. Instead of lack of discipline, I'll say I was not. I didn't stick to the plan. I didn't stick to the plan. If you all remember on Friday, I had a short. I had a long on pound dollar right there. Thought that there was a pretty high chance where market will form a bull flag here if I put on the replay. Don't look at things and start saying, hey, why do you long like that? A lot of things are on the hindsight. So when I look at the price pattern like this before this melt, right? So it was actually a really nice sort of a pullback entry. Saw price bounced off the 50% retracement level. I decided to go aggressive, and I told you all it is an aggressive entry. Then stop loss wise is only about 10 pips, right? Because I know it's more than sufficient. Target wise back to the high. So that was my position on Friday, and obviously I was wrong. I completely got stopped out, and I actually had my second re-entry. I actually told this to two of our members. I forgot who was it. I actually had a re-entry. It's pretty tight stop as well, a 10 pip stop. And guess what? Because we got PCE on Friday at 8:30 p.m. Malaysia time, 8:30 a.m. New York time, I decided to trail my stops because I was quite concerned that if market do some silly things and sort of I got gapped out or slippage, whatever. If you look at the 5-minute chart, what happened was if all of you see here, right? So what happened was after seeing price rally, right? I then trailed my stops. All right, I trailed my stops. Actually, it's actually different. Different broker has different data feed. I trailed my stops under here, just right at the wick here, and on my broker I actually got gapped out. I actually got stopped out, and on this is IC market. On IC market, didn't. I actually traded it on my fund account. So I actually got trailed out here and it reversed all the way to my target again. Like what? Oh yeah, here I actually got gapped. Sorry, I actually got trailed out right there. So that was one thing. And I have to tell you all, these kind of setups are pretty painful, but it's just part of the process, right? Sometimes it's easy to look at one trade and say, yeah, I shouldn't trail my stops. But if you already have done all your back tests, forward tests, or your review, whatever, you know what's the best possible move, the best possible management for your own trading, then just stick to it. Don't allow one trade to affect your confidence or whatever. So end up hitting my 3.5 hour target. Could have been 3.5 hours, but I only got out for less than half an hour. So it was sort of a break-even trade. So that was one thing. And the second thing on my review was, if you look at Pound Aussie and Euro Aussie, both of them are actually pretty easy to short. All right. I took one losses this week trying to short Pound Aussie and another sort of break-even trade on Euro Aussie as well. But if you really look at them, see this on Euro Aussie, it was so clean. I even had this on my chart, but I sort of rushed the entry a little bit. If I were to just focus on this 163.40 level to go short, such an easy short, right? Short it there, cover at the low near 163.02. You actually had multiple chances to short it to the downside. And I think it was Jeff. I think Jeff did a very nice one, catching the entire wave down on Pound Aussie. Was it you, Jeff? I think so, right? If you are still here. Yeah. So Jeff, you shorted around here, I guess on Wednesday, held it all the way to Friday New York session, was it? Yeah, pretty good. So props to Jeff, really good. What a beautiful setup. So just a recap, I think he sort of shorted it there, stop loss at the high, and he actually got out on Friday New York session, and he managed to scale in on maybe this pullback or whatever. He managed to scale in once as well. So really good setup. That was something that I've been planning as well. But guess what? Wrong timing. So I think I shorted Pound Aussie right here, actually, I had to go back to my notion. So I saw this somewhere here. Didn't expect this would go back up. Had a reshort here as well. Didn't expect again price will go back to high of the range at 192.36. Price actually came back to retest this area once, twice before the melt. When price finally did the retest here, sort of a TPF entry at 192, I wasn't looking at penalty anymore, and it just dropped all the way down. I have one weird, I don't say one weird habit. I have one thing that I like to do is whenever it's on Friday, I don't like to trade penalty Euro or Z, some of these more of a minor pair, because it's just one of my pattern on my trading is I don't like to trade pairs that are a little bit more minor on Friday because I know there's a very high chance I have to hold this through the weekend. So a lot of times on Friday, I might as well trade the major pass or the yen pass. So just one thing I like to do. But again, really nice short to the downside. So I have a slight different opinion on compared to Robert, but again, no right or wrong. I believe penalty is still heading towards the downside. Why? Because if you look at this from a high time frame, right, especially on the daily, market is actually trying to close back under the 50 EMA. So when price close above the EMA, and all of a sudden it's trying to cross back under the EMAs, which is the red line here, is always trying to tell us something, which is the average price is declining. All right, something is missing, which is the strength. All right, sellers are actually in control. And especially if it's able to just out of nowhere trying to push price lower, that means this high here at 192.40 could be a value area for them to reshort. Because if also, okay, from another perspective, we can also say, which is one of Rob's scenario. I do agree with it as well, which is price can always come back to 191, do a bullish TPF and reverse all the way back. That is something that we still have to observe further. So overall, I wouldn't say it's a different perspective. It's pretty much the same thing. I really want to see price close under 191, but there is also a probable scenario for us to reshort this. I noticed on Friday night, we pull back really deep, right? That was a really, really deep retracement, massive sell, breaking a low of the range at 191.55, completely tapped at 191, bounced all the way back to the EMAs, and we came back down. So this rejection here to me is a secondary confirmation that sellers are still in control. So I like to see that bounce down here. And right now, since price have already done that break of structure, deeper retracement, follow through, I will expect if sellers are really in control, we will try to claim low under 191.58. So price is pretty close. We're pretty close there. So I'm not sure how tomorrow market open, how price will react, but I will be looking for possible short. Target wise will be down to 191. I'll have to see if price will just like what Robert's scenario is, bounce off this area, completely reverse back up. That's one of the scenario. Second scenario is if price really manages to break lower, I might try to swing this all the way down into 190.35 or even lower, because I won't be surprised to see this thing completely push back to low as well. Because again, it's a healthy downtrend, right? You see, massive sell, deep retracement. Every time it does some sort of fake out here, you see, printed equal high here, took out the high, dropped all the way down, printed that break of structure, the low at 191. Guess what? Completely push up, and right now we're coming back down again. Pattern itself could repeat, so that's something I'm watching. Penalty is one thing on my list. As you can see, I highlighted this one. Then Kang say, GU, you think so as well? Yeah, that's something I'm watching as well. But again, please also remember Robert's scenario, because when I was doing my analysis, right, I was also seeing a possible sort of a bullish TPF, like what Robert said as well. Just be very careful with this area. If price comes here, fake out, holding back above this area, this thing could really reverse 180 degrees completely flip back to the upside. So that is something that we have to be careful. So second one, I wouldn't say short pound yen, but what I'm trying to say is this thing is pretty overstretched, and it's always interesting. Okay, I still have to say this. All of the biggest trade, right? They always will come from. They always will have some sort of hidden risk behind, right? All of my biggest PR trades, we're talking about 50K trade, 100K trade. All this always comes with me having some crazy idea. So I actually want to see how GJ react to this entire area and see if there's some possibility to trade a possible drop back to the downside, sort of trading a range. That is something I'm watching very closely. It's a little bit more aggressive, but again, you can always adjust your risk based on the aggressive nature of the setup itself. If you think it's aggressive, you can drop your risk per trade to 0.5%, right? You can drop it to 0.5%. Just let's say do something crazy, just try to test out if it really happened or not. Just try to do something crazy. Just risk small and test it out. All right. Sometimes things like that can really happen because my gut feeling is telling me this thing is going to drop. All right. And it's probably going to drop hard. Why? It's just my gut feeling. Right. Sometimes gut feeling does happen as well. So GJ, just look at this one. I wouldn't say it's a setup. I'm not trying to call a possible short, but this is something deserve your attention, all right? Because if it really does drop, it's not something crazy as well. Because if you look at the daily, if this thing really pulls back to 197 or even pull back to 195, it's not crazy as well. We had so much rally in the past few months. I wouldn't be surprised to see a deeper retracement. And especially right now, things are getting slower. Maybe it's a good time for us to look for some sort of possible mean reversion. But at the same time, don't overexpose ourselves, right? When I'm not trying to say, oh, risk 5% on this one, just throw in a small risk and see if it's worth your attention or not. So just in case Kang and Sam you don't understand, I have to highlight this 0.5% risk or lesser. All right, I'll just write it here. Don't short something like this with a 1% risk, 2% risk is a little bit stupid. Just try it out and see how it goes. All right. The next one will be dollar CAD. So dollar CAD is also something that I'm watching closely. Also short. All right. Why am I looking to short dollar CAD? Again, simple because of that multiple rejection at the high. That 1, 2, 3, 4 multiple rejection, sort of a confirmed rollover. The more time price trying to create low high, the higher the chance this thing will roll all the way down. So I'm watching this closely, and a level I'm paying attention is also this 136.60 area. So this entire resistance. So if price failed to hold above some of these resistance, we are going to see some heavy melt to the downside. The question is always, when will the breakdown actually happen? So when I see things, the pattern like this have been developing for so many days, right, or weeks, I will roughly sort of say, hey, I think the breakdown, the meltdown, something like this, is going to happen very soon, right? Maybe within a few days. So if you want to go more aggressive, you can always go short, have an open target and see if it break. If it doesn't break, you close your position. If it break, nice one, scale into it. But something that we haven't covered is we got tons of news this week. Very ugly, very, very ugly. So Monday PMI, Tuesday Joe's job openings, Aussie GDP, ADP non-farm employment change, PMI. Thursday, we got unemployment claims, Euro mean refinancing rate. Friday, we got NFP, unemployment rate. So this week is ugly. It's not something I don't like to trade on this kind of week. All right, so that's pretty much it. Anything to sort of cover for Rob and Jail? And any question?
I think I have a little bit of add-on from my
Yeah.
side. It's a trade that I forgot to mention.
Yeah,
Hold
I
on.
share screen.
Okay. Yeah, just now you did mention about EA, right? I actually took an entry right there, right at the TPF level. It's very clean. I refuse to give up on the thesis because it's okay, first of all, okay, on a higher time frame, as you all can see, yeah, we have been talking about the rollover since forever. And then this structure itself on the daily is more clear. Yeah, let me just drop down. Let me just write it down. It's 163.78. Okay, let's put it that. This level is quite significant and it's been rejected multiple times. So it shows us the sign of weakness, or rather the seller still in control, as Neo mentioned. So on the 1 hour time frame, this TBF is real clean. 1, 2, 3, then broke out, and consolidated a little bit, and then this is sort of a TPF as well. It failed to form an equal or higher high, broke back down below, and this is a very good entry. So I decided to, this is quite late at night. As you can see, this entry was around 11 o'clock in Malaysia. It had quite a good run. Yeah. This is something that I would like to hold over the weekend to see if it really works out. So my potential TP was just the range low. I wouldn't expect much, or rather I would try to observe, monitor closely on this some of these intermediate levels, and then manage my position uh in a conservative manner. Yeah, that's pretty much it for me to cover. Is there anything from Neil or Rob?
Robert,
Yeah.
anything to add on?
Um, no, I think that was pretty much it. I was going to say I did forget to mention all the news throughout the week. I think that we've got USD news, just as you mentioned there, every single day: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So it's going to be, I think, just this is something that I put in my notes anyway. I think it's going to be a difficult week, to say the least, just trading USD. I think we're going to see some pretty inconsistent charts.
Yeah.
Some things that just don't make sense. But it's just important to remember that, yeah, obviously news is going to impact that significantly. Yeah.
I think since we got so many dollar news, right? It's also a good time for us to try to look for opportunity on just the non-dollar pairs. So, any question from all of you? So we got 16 people here. Any question? Josh, Venison, Samir, Roy Ramos, Nepal, Kin Ho Chan? What's your Telegram name again? Josh, JC, Janelle, um, Jeff, Darren, Kang, Chris. Question? All good? You're Edwin. Okay. All good, all good. All right. So thanks, Jel and Robert again. First time for Rob. So really well done. That's
I
my
was
mark.
nervous. I don't know if you guys could tell.
Okay. Yeah, I can tell. I can tell you.
You
I
done
can
well.
tell.
Oh,
Okay.
jeez.
But again, it's a good one. It's a good one. All right, it's a good one. All
Good
right.
one.
So thanks, guys. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.